Happy Saturday, guys. Meteorologist Erika Lopez here in the KHOU Weather Center. I am filling in for meteorologist Blake Matthews. He's actually in Florida this weekend and likely for a good chunk of next week because of Hurricane Dorian. So he's helping out us sister stations out in Florida. So I'll be filling in, giving you guys the updates this weekend, and also chatting about our Labor Day weekend weather. So let me know how you're doing. Comment below. I have the Facebook feed going on right now, so those are the questions that I'll be answering this morning. And let me know what your weekend plans are. If you have any questions on Dorian, I'll try to get to those questions right here. So here's the latest stats. If you're waking up this morning and you're wondering, okay, what's the latest with Dorian? It's still a Category 4 hurricane. It was a Category 4 hurricane yesterday, last night, and it has strengthened slightly. Winds are now sustained at 145 miles an hour. Earlier this morning, they were at 140 miles an hour. Still moving to the west at 12 miles an hour. Okay, so I'm going to kind of zoom out and give you the bigger picture of what it looks like at the moment. It is about 220 miles east of the Bahamas and about 420 miles east of West Palm Beach. So it is slowly but surely getting closer to land, which we're talking about hurricane warnings that are in effect right now for the northern Bahama Islands, because hurricane force conditions are expected within the next 24 to 48 hours. Check out this eye though, the eye wall, very impressive signature right now. It extends 10 to 15 miles long. That's how wide this eye wall is. So we're talking about, actually, let's measure this out and just see how long or how wide the system is in general. 488 miles wide is what we're talking about with this hurricane. So Category 4 storm, it is dangerous, potentially deadly, and we're talking about storm surge for the biggest threat right now for the Bahamas. All right, our forecast track, this is the latest cone coming out from this morning's advisory, does continue to push it west. Purple shaded colors, those are hurricane warnings in effect right now, and that's going to extend through the next few days. Okay, so we're expecting landfall in the Bahamas by tomorrow. I'll be talking about devastating conditions potentially for the Bahama Islands and hurricane force winds that are going to, unfortunately, actually, the storm is going to, it's going to change its pace. Okay, we're going to see this system slow down. So focusing on these lines, these white lines, that is indicating a 24-hour period. The closer these lines are together, which we noticed from Saturday to Sunday into Monday, those lines get closer together. That means the system is going to slow down over the Bahamas. That is not good. The slower the system moves, the more time we're talking hurricane force conditions of potentially a Category 4 hurricane right on top of the Bahamas, and that's going to bring in some major issues on top of the flash flooding, on top of the storm surge, damaging winds that could be catastrophic for the Bahama Islands. So we are definitely keeping them in our prayers. As far as what this track is going to do, models are still hinting that this system is going to take a north turn. The question is, how early is it going to take a north turn? And this is why the cone of uncertainty is very wide. Some of the models are still making it landfall somewhere along the Florida coast as a Cat 4 hurricane, which is why this yellow shaded color, it's still over a good chunk of Florida. And then a lot of the models are actually keeping the system out into the Atlantic. So the possibility is there that this may not even make landfall on Florida, but the possibility is there that it could make landfall on Florida and ride all along the eastern coast. So once we get past 48 hours, guys, the forecast is not very reliable. Okay, we have a general consensus of what's going to happen because of what's going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but this is why we all need to be on guard. And it's not only Florida. Check this out. The potential of this storm riding along the eastern seaboard is there and still as a Cat 2 hurricane for Georgia into South Carolina. So that this is not only a Florida problem. We're talking storm surge, flash flooding, hurricane force winds possible all the way into parts of Georgia and into South Carolina. So please, if you have loved ones, make sure they're staying on top of the forecast. It changes constantly throughout the day. And the closer we get, the better we'll be able to pinpoint that forecast, but the further out it is, then it's going to be changing constantly. Okay, here's why we're confident that this system is going to take a north turn, and we're probably worried about that here in Houston because we don't want this storm to go in the Gulf of Mexico. But here's why we're confident. There's going to be a trough of low pressure in the upper levels of our atmosphere. That trough, see how the jet stream kind of digs down? That's going to help pull this storm northward. Now the question is just how soon is it going to pull it, and that's going to distinguish the difference of it making landfall on Florida or it remaining out in the Atlantic. Just a difference of 50 miles, a difference of even 20 miles could make the difference of catastrophic conditions for coastal areas of Florida or not seeing anything at all. So this is why to the day, to the hour, we're going to be able to pinpoint who is going to see the worst conditions, and this is constantly going to change. All right, most of the models are taking this storm riding along the eastern seaboard through Thursday of next week. So we are in the long haul for the potential of impacts with this storm. Again, the question is just how far inland is it going to be, or is it going to remain off the coast? And that's going to bring two completely different scenarios. So here's what we know so far. Dorian, still a Cat 4 hurricane. If you're waking up this morning, it is deadly, it is dangerous, it's devastating, and it hasn't hit land yet, but it's approaching the Bahamas, and we expect those impacts by tomorrow. Sustained winds near 140 miles an hour, up to 145 now, as a matter of fact, and the possibility of it making landfall is there on Florida. But I put in all caps, possible, because some of the models are keeping it off the coast of Florida. Okay. So that's all our updates with Dorian, which I know it's a huge story, but let's talk about our Labor Day weekend forecast here. Right now, it's warm, it's muggy, it's toasty, it feels like Houston. But check this out, we have a north wind in play. So we've been monitoring the shift of a north wind, and that's going to bring in some slightly drier air that will bring us some slightly cooler mornings tomorrow. That's the only difference you're going to tell. But other than that, we have enough moisture for some isolated pockets of showers. About a 30% chance of rain is what we're tracking for today. Nothing huge, but keep in mind a pop-up storm is possible, and feels like temperature still this morning. It's feeling like 94 out in Galveston, feeling like 70s for our northern counties because of that slightly drier air that's filtering in. So check out your Labor Day weekend forecast. Today's our best chance of rain anytime after lunchtime, around 3-4 p.m. That will be prime time for that 30%. Not going to be much though. And then rain chances go down with some slightly drier air, and then we'll have some slightly cooler mornings. Notice lows in the low 70s. So looking forward to that. Partly cloudy skies and a 10% chance of rain. Guys, it's pretty uneventful. Our forecasts. Daily rain chances, typical summer pattern for us here in Houston. We might have a little bit of a cool down before a ridge builds back and brings upper 80s by late next week. All right, so that's your latest update. I hope you guys have a great Saturday, a great Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it. I'll have another update coming up this afternoon with the latest on Dorian, so make sure to tune in. And I'm excited to chat with you guys throughout this weekend and fill in for Blake. Again, he will be back sometime next week and definitely back for next weekend. We'll chat with you guys soon. Bye.